Okay.
Okay, we're starting over.
All right.
Craig
So
just told me off, everybody. He just told me off.
no. Get us on track. So we're going on the S&P 500. That's what we're observing. And
Okay, so you believe that I know I see what you mean with that graph where it's going straight up. It looks like, where's the correction? Because it's
yeah.
natural for the market to self-correct. But there hasn't been any major self-corrections in how long?
In a long time, really, since the coronavirus crash in March of 2020. It just goes like this. Hang on 1 second. That's the 1 year. Let me do the 5-year chart. Am I holding this up correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the last, year or so where it
Where's
goes.
that big dip? What is the big dip? Is that Corona?
Yeah, March of 2020, and
Mm.
then just does that, and it's almost as if the theory is that the Fed is buying it. Well, here's another theory too that is floating around in my head. The real estate market went up like crazy too. So yeah, and the cost of bread went up and the cost of everything. So they're printing so much money and giving so much money away that the value of the dollar is shrinking, and it takes more dollars to buy up a unit of something, a unit of stock, a real estate purchase. It's like everything is getting more expensive, and everyone's
Mm-hmm.
wondering, like, well, is this going to be forever? Where's the correction? Is the inflation, the expected inflation, um, like kind of propping up the market, or is it the Fed that's buying up the stock? Like, what's happening? Who's behind the scenes who know a little tidbit of information? And will there be a correction? Or, hey, this could go on for another year. Now, one thing you and I were just discussing on crypto viewing, they have a chart analysis guy. His name is Marty. And when he goes through all the Bitcoins, all the cryptos, Bitcoin, he does gold, he does silver, S&P 500, and then he does a handful of other cryptos. They read the charts, they do technical analysis, and every time he goes over the S&P 500, he's always like, he can't short it. He's like, normally you'd want to short it, but it just seems that the Fed is buying it up, and it just seems like it's kind of inflated, like propped up. It just seems like, well, you never know how long they're going to keep that up for. Could it be for a
Well,
month? Could it be for a year? So
it
that's
it
what we're
is.
trying to. Uh-huh.
No, sorry. No, I got you, because I do 3 to 5 S&P predictions per week. And what is so interesting is sometimes it'll be up and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down. And and what is so great about this is when you're doing, remote viewing prediction, and because it's so unpredictable right now, that actually helps
Right.
with the remote viewing. So your logical mind doesn't think, well, it was up yesterday, so it's going to be down tomorrow. You see what I mean? Like, you
Right.
have to it's easier that it is unpredictable, because you can throw out your logical mind and say, well, none of this makes sense right now. So your logical mind isn't kicking in, trying to insert information into your remote viewing session to skew the results. It's interesting what's going on. No, I understand what you mean, but you can't really short the market right now. Now, what we can do is we can take the S&P 500 as a whole entity and probe that.
Okay, we could do that. And then, or if you want to also do Jerome Powell, because he'll have an understanding of maybe like the real estate market and other things, or maybe remember we did him before and he just wasn't even interested in stocks, and it was like a big.
He really he was
We
an old he's just
Yeah,
an old, you
yeah.
know I mean, he's not he thought cryptos were just, a scam. He thinks the stock market's a scam.
Was
If
a
you
fraud.
remember when we did that viewing, he thought this
Yeah.
whole stock market was a fraud. The only thing that was not fraudulent was, like, I think it was like food crops, physical
Roads.
gold, and physical silver.
Yeah, and what was interesting was this is one of the things that really made me a believer, because I was always a skeptic, right? Jerome Powell was when I saw you had a skill, and I thought, well, how can we utilize it for an edge in the stock market. So I was trying to figure out this stock stuff, and I was like, well, let's get the Federal Reserve chairman or whatever, not realizing he's not a stock guy, he's an economist. So when we were probing him, it was almost as if like he thought it was a fraud, it's a waste of time. Like there was no edge that we had. He was exactly what you'd expect, asking someone like that a question. And it, it was just it's not like you would know that. Like you wouldn't know enough to like, you know, give what you'd think his opinions would be.
I mean, no,
It's too
no.
much thinking ahead. So anyways, do you
Well,
want to, which one do you-
just to add to that, I mean, if all these, if there's skeptics out there listening that think that I have time to sit here researching this information that I'm putting out, think again, right?
They do. No, they do. One of the comments was that you out Google me. I'm like, you haven't.
What? Oh, come on. Like, I do not have time for that.
No,
I
I get it.
barely
Listen, Liz,
have
it's not,
time.
it's not you. It's the fact that there's so many BSers out there. There's like astrology and horoscopes, like on the back of a magazine, and the impressions that people get. The truth is, people are not skeptic. They're just they don't know. They've never looked into it. They have a belief system established by assuming with other people, but they've never looked into it.
Well,
so that's it.
And then you get the scammers, and I've actually gonna put out a video today on my YouTube channel about how to not be scammed by like fake psychics, right? And that's good. I think all these skeptics and everybody should listen to that video, because once again, unfortunately, I had somebody come to me. They had paid a lot of money to a charlatan, and took them for every penny they had. So definitely, if you get a chance, go to my website or my YouTube channel, Remote Viewing and Beyond, and find that psychic scammer video that we're going to put up today. In fact, Craig, if you want to copy it and put it on yours too, by all means do that.
I'll just put the link in there. I didn't realize that. I'll put the link in there and I'll add it so people want to follow it. So
I'll go ahead and apologize. I'm very harsh there, because people like you, Craig, you didn't know. When you start dabbling in this stuff, right? You didn't know what was real, what isn't real, who to go to, what to believe. And it's taken you a while to figure out, okay, right, this is what works and this is what doesn't work, right? And you actually gave me tips on how to be psychic, which is phenomenal, really, considering that you aren't psychic, but you were like, okay, Liz, I see where your strength lies, so why don't we do it this way? And I'm like, oh man, that's freaking awesome. I never had that insight before. But anyway, what happens is people, and I don't want to get off topic too much, but people end up going to, like little shops and little hole in the walls and different sorts of, energy healers and all this stuff, and they end up losing their life savings. So everybody
the energy stuff was there was something to that as well, I remember, but I don't know who's like genuine and who's not. I have no way of, there's no barometer for it, but we should do a skeptic video one day.
I sort of gave a barometer in that video. Okay.
All right. Make it check that out.
So for instance, like if you go to an energy clearer and they say, okay, you paid me $500, now I need another 1,000 because I can't dispel this darkness and I got to put a team to, no. Okay. No, genuine people are not going to charge a lot of money. So I'll give an example, and this is also in the video. Sorry, this is repetitive. People come to my Patreon to evidence my work before they book a reading. So when they get to the Patreon, it's like $5 plus tax. Well, there's your first clue, right? I'm not greedy. I'm not money hungry. That means I put my passion over a dollar amount, right? So that's your first clue. But anyway, you must watch that video or listen to it about how to not get scammed by these charlatans, fakers, whatever you want to call them. Anyway,
Okay,
So
let's
let's go
let's
into, who are we doing?
okay, we could do two things, and then I want to make another video on another topic. But I want to do Jerome Powell, and then you said we can do the S&P 500 as an entity.
Okay, which one?
Yeah, does that sound good? Which one you want to
Who
do
would you
first?
like first?
Let's do Jerome Powell because I have his picture right here on my face. So,
I know what he looks like, but show everybody. Yeah, there he is. Whoo, he's an old sweat, man.
he's doing pretty good with the, if you want to look at it in terms of how we handled the coronavirus the crash and all that. So
What, printing loads of money?
I think he was, to my recollection, when we did the deep mind proof, he was like, he didn't want to do it because you have to pay it back through Social Security and
Yeah, he didn't.
option. Yeah.
Your volume's gone funny again. Move your thumb. There you go.
I'm probably putting my finger over the.
Yeah, you're putting your finger over the thing. You sound like your head's in a bucket again.
Right now? Right now?
Yeah,
What about right now?
yeah,
Okay. What about right now?
yes.
Well, there's nothing I know. Take it out of the case. All
There
right,
you go.
Yeah.
That's a little better. I don't know what happened, but it sort of
What about now?
dispatched to Craig.
What about
No.
really? Well, can my head just sound like I'm in a bucket for a little bit? Or is
You
that
want to
enough?
get a bucket and just talk into it?
I mean, I can get my Bluetooth. Here, let me.
It's just not very clear.
Okay, got the sound working, and we have Jerome Powell here. And you want his picture again?
No, thank you.
Okay. You tired of looking at him?
I've got him here.
Okay. So
He's just
so
finished a late sort of breakfast or brunch.
interesting.
He's just finished eating.
Interesting that you can sense that.
I can tell
So
you what he had for breakfast.
What did he have
Or
for
like
breakfast?
a brunch. It's like an omelet. He's he likes these omelets. He's quite health conscious, actually. Very small
Yeah.
portions.
It's interesting because if you look at his picture, he's not like overweight. He's very healthy looking for his age.
He exercises a lot in the morning, and he doesn't eat before he exercises, so he does quite and then he'll have something to drink, and then he doesn't eat until later on. So he's just finished eating, and I feel like he's only going to actually have one more really small meal, probably around 4 o'clock, and then he doesn't eat again.
Is he vaccinated?
Are you vaccinated? I'm getting a no.
Why wouldn't he be vaccinated? Does he trust the vaccine?
No.
Would he take the Regeneron stuff, if he got COVID?
If he had to, but he believes he's very healthy. He plays a lot of golf too.
So what about
I hate it when I actually deep mind probe people and they're eating, because when they're answering me back, they're chewing their food.
That's interesting. It's a good thing he's done eating. What happens if he has a cup of coffee? Does that mess it up, or his?
He only has 1 cup a day.
So let's go into the S&P the stock market. What does he think about the new highs, the record highs every day with the S&P 500?
He thinks it's good. Things are flowing. Business is good.
Is the Fed buying up stocks to prop up the market?
No, they're giving other companies money through the back door.
like
So
through
they're not
loans?
physically, so remember, when we're doing these probes, everything is very literal. So, right, are they doing it through loans? Yes. So they're loaning the company's money to buy stocks and to buy each other's stocks is what I'm getting as well.
Is there any intent to discontinue that program at a certain point?
Is there any intent to discontinue that not at the moment, not for the foreseeable future. They've got to
So,
recapture the money at some point, but they think that they can recapture the money through the interest that will be paid back on the loans. That makes sense. Listen, if anybody thinks I'm sitting there, I'd have to be an economist to do this,
no,
right?
I think anyone listening to this is already understanding that you have,
Oh, okay.
you know, you
That's
just
not
make a
my
lot of
strong
sense when
point.
you, so,
That's not my strong
so,
point. I went to law school. I didn't go to economy school or business school.
right.
So right, I get what he's saying. He's saying that the interest paid back, they invest in the stocks, they're going to make money, right? The stock market is going up, they're making money, and when they're paying, so they can pay these loans back because they're making money on the stock market. Do you see what's going on? And they can
I
pay it
do.
back with interest because they're giving them backdoor. It's all backdoor money. Okay. It's all backdoor. And actually there's no firm timeline on when they should pay the money back. It's sort of a gentleman's agreement almost. It's of course it's going to be in writing, but the payback time is very flexible for these companies. And what he's telling me, it's flexible because they don't know when this corona is going to end. So there's no point putting a definitive time limit on something if, next year another strain comes around and we're hammered, because then they can't pay it back. Right? They don't want people to foreclose. They don't want these businesses to go under, because if the business, what he's telling me, if the businesses go under, people are unemployed, and then the government has to pay for that.
So does he see the stock market having a correction anytime soon, because it's just been going up and up and up?
Do you see the stock market having a correction anytime soon? No.
What about for the next year? Would you say
It'll probably drop with, okay, so what he's telling me is when the companies are anticipating, especially around the Christmas end of year period where a lot of people are spending a lot of money, that is going to cause small dips in the stock market that he can forecast. Just remember, he's not in control of the stock market. So that he can foresee the anticipation, the spending anticipation won't be as high, because obviously people are still not in full swing again. I mean, they're trying to keep us out there. They want us spending money, because the more we spend, the more taxes they can collect, right? So I think he's saying to me, the dips are going to be where there's this anticipation that things are going to be back to normal spending amounts, and it's just probably not going to hit there. So if it doesn't hit those figures that they're anticipating, then there will be dips. But then of course these companies always spin it, and they always say, well, we did better than we thought we would, considering the time that we're in. And that's what causes these stocks not to plummet.
okay, so
They dip,
what does he
but they don't plummet.
what does he think about is he going to take any action as far as interest rates? What is it? What is the only thing he does? They raise interest rates
Yeah. Are you going to
on
raise
government
interest
securities?
rates soon? No.
Okay,
They're not
and
going to
what
raise interest rates soon. Are you
and
talking
what
about
about
it?
in the
No, it's
yeah?
not
What
possible.
about not possible for the next 12 months?
What about in the next 12 months? So it'll have to be reevaluated, and it's reevaluated how many months is it? They reevaluate it every week, he just said.
Oh, okay. So it could happen anytime.
It
Okay.
could happen anytime, but I mean, let's ask him honestly, within the next 2 months, do you see interest rates being risen? No. Going up? No.
What does he think about the real estate market? The fact that the prices went up on everything.
Okay, so on the one hand, it's good for the developers, but it's bad for homeowners.
How are they going to get a loan from the bank and the
Right.
appraisal comes back at 100,000 when it's going for 200,000, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what he's like. It's bad for them because it's putting them in a lot of debt. So he's showing me like young people, it's becoming even more impossible for them to get on the housing ladder.
They're going to have to rent. They're going to have
Right.
to
They're
rent.
going
No,
to have
no.
to rent. And, renting is, see, even the information I'm getting from him as well, I'm having this conversation with him, but I'm asking him, well, renting is bad for seniors. Absolutely. Because what happens if you have people that cannot get on the property ladder? Okay. When you get older and you want to retire, your spending should be minimized, right? Because you're not bringing in that big income that you were. Most people are not able to save for their retirement like they would like to, especially now with the inflation going up. I mean, a lot of people can't save, a lot of people can't invest. And if you're renting, you will still pay the trend prices, but your pension and your social security will not cover that rent. So you're screwed. And that's why he's telling me that getting on that property ladder is extremely important, but it's becoming more, it's impossible. Now, again, he's saying it's great for the developers, it's great for businesses, but it's going to keep poor people poor and rich people rich, and it's going to create a
Does he
massive divide.
But does he see a correction there, like behind the scenes? Is there any kind of legislation or anything that they're going to do to correct it? Or is it just going to
No.
keep on going up? Is it because inflation? Does he feel like it's because of inflation
Partly
that
to
the
blame,
prices?
yes. Yes, it
Does he
is.
think?
But it's also what he's telling me. It's because people are making money in the stock market, right? So there's a lot of, so it's the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. It's that old thing here. I mean, typically in American society, that's what separated us a lot from a lot of different countries, is because we had the ability to, social mobility, that was available to us. And what he's telling me, and I'm asking him, do you believe social mobility is still available? He's saying no. It's becoming harder and harder.
So, what stocks would he get if he were to give advice to his family to get into the stock market? What would he get, knowing what he knows behind the
Gold
scenes?
bars. He
So no
says stay. So
stocks.
he hasn't changed. See, he hasn't changed his mind. He's saying stay away from the stock market and buy gold bars.
Why would he recommend staying away from the stock market if he sees it just going up and up and up?
Because in his opinion, of today's date, of his opinion, remember this is current information on today's date, it's unreliable.
Why
But
would it
let's
be
face it.
unreliable if everyone's
Let's
making money?
Right. I agree with you, but he's not thinking on a level of like normality. Okay. Can you go out and buy a gold bar? I can't go out and buy a gold bar. Most people cannot go out and buy a gold bar. He, on the other hand, can go out and buy gold bars. And I'm not talking about the little, $100, $200 little specks of gold. I'm talking about gold bars, the actual gold bars, right? So if you have the kind of money that Jerome Powell has, that advice makes sense to me. Oh, go out and buy gold bars. You
How
know,
does he have so much money on a government paycheck? Does he do a little, does he sell information to on the side? You know, does he get paid to give advanced knowledge to a hedge fund or something like that?
do you
Does he
sell
do anything
information on
illegal?
the side? No, no.
Does he do anything illegal?
Do you take any backhanded deals? Yes, he has.
Back-ended deals that would be illegal that he has to, or back-ended deals in general that no one would take a look at.
Does
Like, what
anybody
could he
know
be?
about your deals? Yes, he's reported them. He's reported
Okay.
them. Do you own businesses? So I feel like his family own his businesses for him. So he does not directly own the business, but his family owns the businesses and he has a lot of interaction with those businesses, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I think we got enough information from him regarding the stock market. He's like 2 steps away from the stock market. That's the problem. It would almost be more accurate to, zero in on a big hedge fund, like the top person of a hedge fund who's probably more intertwined with the knowings and the goings on, and but I just
Well,
pulled up
yeah,
Jerome
I mean,
Powell. I don't know.
you wouldn't want your head of your Federal Reserve really involved in the stock market. That
Hmm.
it wouldn't make a lot of sense, because you want somebody who can make decisions based upon, and what I get from him very strongly is that even though he is very far removed economically in terms of how normal people live, he really does try to identify with the lower classes of society. He tries to really not make their life as difficult. Now, people won't believe that, but I get that from him very strongly. Look at his answers about the housing ladder. He wants people to get on the housing ladder. He doesn't want people renting their entire life. He doesn't, he's very much, I don't know what his political persuasion is, but I feel like it's very much like
Well, let's ask him.
conservative. Are you
Does he
conservative?
prefer
Yeah,
Trump,
he's
or
conservative. He's
does he
conservative.
prefer does he prefer Trump, or does he prefer Biden?
Do you prefer Trump or do you prefer Trump?
Does he feel like the election was stolen?
Do you feel like the election was stolen? No. But that's
All
his
right,
opinion.
yeah, exactly.
That's not,
Yeah.
we're not stating fact here. We're stating his opinion. But I feel very strongly, I feel like he leans conservative, but I feel very strongly he wants to see the lower income people. He wants to see, because I'm pulling this information, that's why I'm handing it out slowly. He wants to see them succeed. He loves success stories. He loves the stories of the people that grew up with nothing and became multimillionaires. He loves that. He thrives on that. That's what he works for, he's telling me. And so American exceptionalism, that's what sets us apart. He's telling me this. That's what sets us apart from the world. And he's now showing me his thumb and his forefinger almost close together, like when you're measuring something,
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. He's
Yeah.
showing me it's dwindling down to nothing. Soon we're going to be like them. And when he says them, he's pointing towards Europe.
What does he think about China and the whole problem over in China, how it's going to flourish and become the new superpower?
Do you believe that China's flourishing? They're doing okay. Okay, that's what he said. Do you believe that they're going to become the new superpower? No, because the Chinese government will see, in his opinion, superpower means empowering the people. And he's telling me, like, economically empowering the people. He's saying with the Chinese government in power, they don't empower their people economically. So they will never be as well thought of as us. Plus, they don't care about the pollution, he says.
Okay, so I guess what about what does he think about the whole? Does he think that coronavirus was a lab result from China,
Do you think
or does he?
coronavirus was created in a lab? Absolutely. On purpose.
Are they doing anything to China behind the scenes?
Are you doing anything to China behind the scenes? No, he's saying the current administration is too scared to. That's his opinion.
You know, it's funny if I watched a, well, whatever. I'm leave my opinions out of it. Do you have anything else? And before we close this and go to the next entity.
No, I think, he gave us a lot of information. He still doesn't trust the stock market. He still gave us the information about the backdoor loans. They're investing in the stock market. And if that's the chance that companies want to take, then that's up to them. But he personally would not take chances on the stock market.
Well, you know what? We asked him about investing, and then he said gold bars. Let's rephrase it. Let's say if your friend had $5,000 to invest, where would he recommend he invest that $5,000?
Man, this guy's old. If your friend had $5,000 to invest and he came to you asking you where to put it, where would you say? And you know what he says? The bank.
But how do you trust the bank if you don't trust the stock market? It's like they go hand in hand, right?
This guy, he's old school. He's old school. You got to think he's so pro bank.
I see.
And
Yeah.
interest rates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not a risk taker. And thank God
Right.
he's not, because
He's
you
early
wouldn't
bird
want to.
special, 4 o'clock meals.
Yeah,
You know.
you know what I mean? And he has like one alcoholic drink every afternoon too. But
Okay.
let's ask him, what do you drink? Bourbon or whiskey? Bourbon. He likes his bourbon. So he'll have
Does
his
he drink
of
wine?
bourbon. Do you drink wine? No. Gives him a headache.
All right,
Goes
let's
straight
make a
to
new
his head.
entity.
He pointed to his
He's-
head. But I mean, if you think
He's
about it,
boring.
yeah, he is. He's really boring. But would you want a risk taker in charge of the Federal Reserve?
No, of course
No.
not. I'm just joking.
No. But
Yeah.
the thing is about these mind probes, it's funny because when you really start digging into them and you think you're going to get this really exciting information, which I mean, it kind of is exciting. Together, it's like, well, no, you wouldn't want a risk taker at the top of the chain because they would screw all our money. You know what I mean? They could screw the whole country into the ground with a few bad decisions. This guy is a very safe bet. That's why he's up there.
Oh, you want to do a time movement
Oh,
up
yeah,
a
we can
year
do
to
that.
ask if there was a correction or a crash?
Let's see. So let's move. What's today's date? September the 8th.
8th.
September the 8th, 2022. Can we make a time movement? He doesn't like the time. Can we make a time movement? Okay, yeah. And so it's September 8th, 2022. Okay, have we seen a major crash in the stock market? No, it's held steady.
Any normal correction?
Dips. He showed me a few dips, but it's held steady, surprisingly so. But he believes that the reason it's held steady is because they're making sensible decisions. Now, let's talk about crypto. Have you put in crypto regulation moving a year forward? Has there been any movement on the crypto? Yeah, regulation, tons.
Has that made the prices go higher of Bitcoin?
Has it made the prices of Bitcoin go higher or lower? Higher. Why do you think it's gone higher? Because it's becoming a safe investment. See, he believes that regulation protects investors. And when you have that protection in place, more people will want, this is what he's telling me, more people will want to invest. So forward, people have had more confidence with the protection. Now, how have they put the protection in place? Have you come down on the exchanges? Everyone. Have you
What
come down on
about,
the wallets? Everything has to be registered. Wallets have to be registered. Exchanges have to be registered. And they're in place. So see what
can
they're
we do it?
trying to do? Hold on. See what they're trying to
Yeah.
do? They're
Mhm.
making it just like the stock market. So, when you go onto your stock market account, say you buy, I don't know, whatever, 10 shares and I don't know, just hypothetically saying 10 shares in I don't know, fund. That's reported. They have a record of that. They know that you know 10 shares of this. That's what they want. They want to know your every movement. And that's what they don't like about the cryptos. They don't like that. They don't know how much you're buying, how much you're selling, where you're putting it, what
Is there
country it's going to.
is there an intention to replace like the dollar with some sort of like digital dollar? Is there anything
That's a
in the
good
works?
question. Is there anything in the works? So we're still in next year. So September 8th, 2022. Is there anything in the works to replace the dollar? No. And in
Or is it
fact,
digitize the
by
dollar?
allowing what he's telling me, by allowing people to invest in crypto, it keeps the dollar separate. So by investing, by allowing people and having regulations in place, it allows the dollar to not be. That makes sense to me. See how these mind probes and all these people, well, she's just researching it, blah, blah. No, how would I know that? I wouldn't know that. But if you see that answer, that makes sense. Because if they want to keep the cryptos as a separate entity. They don't want people with crypto spending cards, right? They don't want that. That's not
Well,
what they want.
well, this is the theory that it would be irresistible for governments to not have some sort of, let's just say, digital currency that they could like see where all your spending goes, see how much money you come. It's like, imagine you don't have to even pay the IRS anymore. It just automatically gets taken out of your US crypto, whatever it would be called. Not only that, let's say you're a fugitive or you're on the run or whatever, they could just turn off your wallet. So now you're compromised. So this kind
But
of
they do that
technology,
anyway.
right.
Look,
It's true.
if you're a fugitive, they confiscate your bank account anyway. Look,
Yeah.
the criminals will always find a way, right?
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
they don't like the criminal activity going on with the crypto. Criminals will always, not crypto, they're going to find it somewhere else. They're going to launder the money through property. They're going to launder money through businesses. Criminals will always find a way. And it's
Right.
up to the government to try to keep up with that. Right now, you're putting too much confidence in the IRS. I mean, have you tried to call them lately? They don't even answer the phone. And I say that genuinely because as a member of my family, I call them for the past year. They don't even answer the phone. Has anybody tried to call you're putting too much faith that the IRS can keep up with the technology. Listen, I'll tell you all a story about my dad. I have to tell you a story about my dad. My dad went to pay. There he is. He's just going out now. My dad went to inquire at the IRS office years ago. And so he didn't have to stand in the line. He got there first. And as soon as the doors open, he's standing at, the counter, and everybody's back there just having their coffee, chatting. They see the long line at the counter. They're ignoring everybody there. And 20 minutes goes by and on the desk. So my dad says, I got to go to work. And so he ran out the door and he had to go to work. And the next day, he brought his own bell. You know, the bell that you ring for
Yeah.
service. So
Right.
the
Right.
next day, he was first in line. And he went to the IRS, and right at 9 o'clock when the thing opened and he's standing in line, he sat there ringing his bell to get the service.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, they paid
He's not
attention.
afraid.
No,
Yeah.
no, they paid attention. But I mean, that's the IRS. If you think that these people work hard, think again, because they're just useless. They've
I see.
actually closed our local IRS office, and you can't even go down there anymore. In a major city, you can't even go down there anymore. You can't even call these people. You're putting far too much faith in the IRS.
Okay. All right. Oh, I'm losing you a little bit. I'm losing you. You there? Uh-oh. You there? Testing, testing.
Okay, so let's use the S&P 500. I'm sorry I waffled on a bit there, but it's just,
It's
it
okay.
amazes me how much faith people put in government. The S&P 500 as an entity. Okay, I've got that here.
Okay. So, and it's present day, right? We've moved to present day. So what's driving the price up? What's currently driving the price up? What's the dominant driver of increased price per share?
Just seems like everybody's making the same moves. There's lots of buying and selling going on. As soon as somebody sells something, there's somebody there to buy it. There's not a surplus in stock that's not moving. That's what they're telling me, that's very important information. If somebody offloads a ton of stock and it's not snapped up quickly, that causes price drops.
Okay. So from the reflection, so they're buying up. Who's the major buyers? Are they big, making big purchases, or they're tiny little people purchases?
Who
Or
are the major buyers? Big whales or billionaires?
hedge funds and billionaires?
Hedge funds, yeah. Yeah, the hedge funds. So how much of what percentage are just like individuals? 20%. Very low. They don't have, so what it's telling me is they don't have that kind of money to move around. When you're talking about billionaires, hedge fund managers, things like that, they've got the money to move around. And they're moving it around. They're making it while they can. Well, I feel like there's a bit of a panic going on. Okay. And I feel like they're trying to do this as best they can, as fast as they can, and they're stashing money away. Are they reinvesting? No, I don't feel like they're reinvesting. I feel like they're making a definitive profit, pulling out that profit. And whenever they hit that profit margin again, they pull out again. What are they doing with the money? They're putting it away. Why are they putting it away? There's a panic going on there. That's why the S&P is doing well. People are panicking that, are they scared that it's going to drop? They're afraid that it's going to crash down. So that panic is actually what's driving the market to stay up. That makes sense. That makes sense.
It's like a game of chicken that just never ends. Like they just keep
Yeah.
getting closer and closer to the height.
Like you would think when people are panicked, okay, individuals like us, okay, I guess we would panic and sell. But they're panicking because they're panicking that they won't make money. Do you see what I mean? Because they make so much money on a daily and weekly basis on the trading that they're panicking that they won't make money. And the last thing they want to do is to not make money. So that's why there's this full force going in to the S&P right now, pumping it, so that they're making money. Because you think about it, the big money people, it's never enough.
Is the price, is it losing, is the S&P 500 losing steam now? Is it kind of like hitting the top? Because it's at $4,500 more or less. 45.
Is it losing steam? No, it's full steam ahead.
Should we do a time movement?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go up to March 2022.
Ooh,
March
okay.
1st, 2022.
March 1st, 2022. Okay.
Has there been any correction?
There's
Like
been
a
a
massive
few corrections.
10% or more correction?
Has there been more than a 10% correction? No, not really.
Has there
If
been
it did,
any major?
it didn't,
Uh-huh.
it didn't, has there been, what is the standard percentage mark for crash?
Great question.
Has there been, I mean, I feel like there's been corrections, but nothing on the grand scale of panic that most people think that's going to happen. And again, while you're looking that up, that brings me to a point that if you're, these corrections are an opportunity for you to assess how you feel about them. If you see a correction and think, oh, well, whatever, then I would say that is how you're supposed to be emotionally. If you see a correction and you're freaking out and you're checking the stats every 5 seconds and refresh and you're panicking and you're fear, I don't know if I'll ever get that money back. Okay, you've invested way too much money. You've invested money that you can't afford to lose. And that negative interaction with your investments, that will bring about your money blocks.
It says that 10%, there's no, definitive amount, but usually it refers to around 10%. We can ask, what's the highest percentage of the correction?
What's the highest percentage of the correction that is seen? About 8.
From now until March?
Mm-hmm.
We should have. 8's
But
pretty substantial.
Overall, has it made more money? A lot more money. So did it come back to bounce back quickly? No, I feel like that big correction is going to take a week, approximately 2 weeks to bounce back substantially, but it always does.
Approximately when was the 8% correction?
Was it in September? No. Was it in October? Was it in October? November? December? I don't know why I got a little blip for October. I'm not saying for sure it didn't answer me, but it was hesitant. There was a blip there for October. So maybe there is a correction in October, but
Was there a major event that happened that started the correction? Was there some sort of news event?
No. No, it was just that everybody made similar decisions on the same day. It's not good to short the market. That's what I'm getting. The information that's coming in now, it's, even though it's good for investors, it's not good for the market. It's, to short it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's good if you want to time, your purchase. It's like you can wait forever waiting for a correction, and it goes from, 4,500 to 5,000, and then you're left on the sidelines. So if you know that
Yeah.
there's going to be an 8% correction, you might maybe a couple bucks, just waiting for it. And as you said, in 2 weeks it kind of goes back up, and
Yeah.
you don't
But
put a
see,
lot of money.
people used to ask me to do price points. Okay. So they wanted to know at which time in the month would be the highest point and the lowest point. And I stopped doing that. Why? Because it makes people crazy. Those are the people that shouldn't really even be investing. Those are your get rich quickers. And, it's just it's you're too highly emotionally charged. And what happens is, so say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, I'm going to use a date in the past because I don't want anybody to go and say, oh, the psychic said this. Say September the 1st, at 12 noon was going to see the highest point, and then the lowest point was going to be September the 2nd at 12 noon. And people get so like panicked and emotionally charged over that. Well, what happens? All those people that will be investing in that prediction for September the 1st at 12 noon bring all their money blocks into place. So say you had 20 people who listened to that prediction, they put the money on, or they did their whatever it was they needed to do on the computer, they're investing, and they bought low and they were going to cash out at 12 noon. Well, what happens is that, Jane, who lives, in California, doesn't know, say, Robert, who lives in Florida, but because they're all intertwined because of this prediction, Robert's money blocks can crash Jane's profit. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but then they're also intertwined, so
I mean, that's what happens.
It's meant to be either way, right?
Other people's money blocks will crash your ability to earn, because you're all going in on that same energy strand, right? Oh, you're all concentrating on the same thing. So that's what happens. So even though Robert's soul doesn't allow him to make money, Jane's platform crashes, or her computer goes down, or there's a power cut, or there's some natural disaster where she can't access the computer to cash out at 12 noon on September the 1st. That's why I stopped doing price points, because
Well,
it makes
you help
people
release
crazy.
money blocks with CTT, right? So people can always pay to have a session with you, and then you could do a CTT set. You know what's funny? I don't know if I ever told you this. I did a tapping session in the very beginning on my own when I got the script from either you or George.
Mhm.
And I just cut to the chase. I just tapped for like $10,000 and I let it go. Or maybe I did it a few times a day, or I forget how it happened. Liz, I kid you not, within a period of time, I can't tell you when, I had an envelope of cash for about $9,000,
Mhm.
something like that. I got an envelope of cash because I'm on Paxful. I sell Bitcoin. I kind of like get gift cards. I have like a little hustle on there. And there was someone in Nigeria that ripped someone off. They shipped it over to me to trade it for Bitcoin. I got a hold of the original person, and they were also involved in something. I couldn't give the money back. It was just like lost in the sauce. It was all like I don't know where the money ended up really coming from, but the woman initially, she was trying to get it back, but it really wasn't her money. So I didn't know who to trust. And I'm like, well, here I am. And I waited a long time, and that was substantial money for me. I was really happy. In cash, I took a picture of it. I gotta send it to you. So I can't
That's
help but
awesome.
correlate the tapping from from to that. Like I can't, maybe it was just, and I tried it a few times after that, and I didn't get, of course I increased the number. I try to get greedy, but maybe it was like my soul kind of directing me to like try that tapping more, and it was like authenticating it. Like, look, you got money, give it more attention.
The
So
same thing happened to me. When I first met George, he told me what to do, and I did it, and I tapped for some money because I needed money to pay for my mom's funeral expenses. And we ended up getting over $20,000.
And then
So
yeah, I mean,
it does work. It does work, but you have to do it. That's the affirmation tail ender process. I can teach people how to do that affirmation tail ender process. But yeah, with the CTT, that's part of the CTT. And I do remove money blocks because we all have so many emotions around money. It's ridiculous. They have too much. They don't have enough. Why is this everything unfair? How come they have this? Jealousy, rage, stealing. And I mean, we have so many bad negative emotions around money. And
but
if
I
you go
personally
back
believe
in,
that you can help people make more money in the individual lives. I think in the beginning when you and I were doing stuff, I think I was making money, and then remember I'd always like, send you money for, the money I made, and I was trying to keep it going. I truly believe that it resolves a lot of mysteries. Like I have a friend, as you know, Robert, that was always he's like he's a lawyer. He's always starting new businesses. He's trying to always get things off the ground, but the like last 10 years nothing has worked, and it's always these weird outliers, and they're great ideas, everything is on the up and up, but it'll be some crazy business partner that just sabotages, or this unfortunate event, and this is like he has like bad luck. And then you were able to like kind of identify what it was, and without even knowing him, you didn't know all the details, I knew it, and you kind of like hit the nail on the head. I didn't tell you at the time, but I personally believe that you could help people in their individual lives making more money. And I'm saying that almost as a plug for you, but also for the people who are, wanting to have an easier financial life.
well, you
It's
have to understand it. You have to understand why the blockages are there. Listen, it's no point racking your brain trying to get, why does this always happen to me? How come when I get a little bit of money I need new brakes on the car, or I need new tires, or the plumbing goes, or the electrics go, something always happens, right? You
right.
have to understand why that is present in your life. Like, and some people don't have that. Some people don't
Yeah.
have that. Some people have no problems with money whatsoever. And you have to understand why they don't. Because we have set everything up in this lifetime before we got here. So if you're one of those that every time you get a little bit of money and something happens, well, your soul somewhere down the line has said, okay, I don't want to be prosperous in this lifetime. I want to, because every time that happens, we learn a lesson, right?
Yeah.
And what happens also is then we start getting these negative emotions around money. Money is energy. That's all it is. And but we have so much negativity around money. Look at how people feel about the big players, the billionaires. They hate them. They stalk them. There's so much bad energy directed towards these billionaires. It's a wonder they even have any money. Seriously, it's like I don't know. I don't get that. We should do a session on that.
There's
Like,
always haters. There's always
so
haters.
yeah, but
I saw
that
this.
negative energy, how come that negative energy doesn't penetrate into these billionaires' lives where they lose their money? Like, I don't get that, right? That's
Yeah.
definitely a CTT session in the making, but you have to understand on an individual level why your business partnership failed, why, you lost your house, why, whatever the issue is. And once you have that full 360-degree understanding, you can then process it and then move on from it. But what happens is a lot of people just become stuck. They become trapped in that, okay, I got a little bit of money, but now this has happened. I got to go to the dentist, or I got a little bit of money, now I got to go to the doctor. It's just people get trapped in that cycle, and you have to go in and do a CTT session to unravel it all. And once you start unraveling that energy, that cycle, and you understand it, you can then move on and learn how to be prosperous. But I'm going to tell this as well, tell you all this, which is it's not a one-hit wonder process. You know, I've done over 200 sessions for myself, not about money. Mine were never really about money, but you know, I've done over 200 sessions just for myself. I do loads of sessions for my family. I never do money sessions for me or my family. Maybe I should. I did the affirmation tail ender to get money for my mom's funeral, and that did materialize. But I guess because money's not on the forefront of my mind, it's not
It's
something
always
that
on mine.
isn't.
It's like I'm plagued with it. It's just
But that's what
I don't even know if
happens.
it's
People
yeah,
become obsessed by it. And
yeah.
so for me, I'm not. I'm you know, and again, that goes into my getting scammed by psychic video. That's your first clue of how you find a genuine psychic medium. They don't charge a lot of money. They just don't. And I explain all of that. But you know, I don't do money sessions for myself, but a lot of people want money sessions. Or you know what happens? They think they want a money session, and actually it turns out to be something completely different that they needed in their life.
Yeah, they just got to do it with you to understand it. Hey, real quick, we did the S&P 500. You know what we should do before we end this video is silver, is SLV,
Oh yeah,
because it's
lots
kind
of
of
people keep asking me. You know, I feel this, I mean, just when I look at the energy of silver, lots of people keep asking me about silver. You're not the only one. The energy feels so flat. It's almost like people don't care about silver anymore. Silver is almost like a dime. That's how it feels. The energy feels. Now, if something happens to fuel the energy back into silver, maybe like in the spring of next year. But
do you
I
want to
feel,
do a time movement? Because I have a
yeah.
bigger play here, a bigger picture here. I'm going to spring it on you.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, no, it's a good one though. It's good.
You
Good.
scared
It'll
me.
tie into another video. No,
It's going to be a conspiracy
it's more
theory, isn't it?
authentic. No, it relates to an old
Oh.
video we did. Okay, so here's SLV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it? It's at
Yeah.
22.26. That is it's an ETF. It's not the exact price of silver, but it's correlated and manipulated and all that, but it's there. That's essentially the silver market. So it's
Mm-hmm.
22.26, and as you said, it's flat. It went down like a little while ago, not even, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago. It was like $27 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
$26. Anyways, I'd like to do a time movement up to say January
Okay.
of 2022.
And the code is
And
SLV.
yeah, SLV. Yeah. Now, has there been any steady increase?
No,
It's been the same.
maybe 24, but no.
Okay.
And
Now
again,
let's
this is just for psychic entertainment purposes only. It's not,
well, we're
this
looking
is
for
not
big
official
movements.
financial advice.
Correct. And a lot of our price predictions on time were not accurate. Just saying that straight out.
They're
If we're
hard.
trading,
Price predictions are difficult. I mean,
we
because
don't know.
timelines can be delayed.
We don't know why. We did spreadsheets. We were looking into it. The deep mind probes were very accurate. The price predictions, maybe they're money blocks. We don't understand the mechanism here. So don't start investing in this. However, if there's like a big rush of energy that comes in, right?
I feel like it's March next year.
Okay, so March of 2022, there's like a big rush of energy, and then ballpark price compared to $23 that we're at right now,
It won't be anything spectacular.
27.
I don't even feel it'll be 27.
Okay, so now here's where it's gonna get good. Let's go to 2024.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, now here's where it's gonna get interesting. Has there been from now until then a big rush that's driven the price up for SLB?
At some point it did reach like 30.
Okay.
I feel like
so
it's
not-
around 30.
So my theory is that if something ever happened with cryptos, specifically Bitcoin, then silver would revert back, because Bitcoin kind of siphons the energy off of silver. Like Bitcoin is the replacement of gold and silver.
But
And we
I
saw-
feel like I really feel like people are just dumping silver. Silver doesn't feel important to them anymore. I just get that so strongly. Gold, yes. I feel like gold is more the opposite to Bitcoin.
Okay, so we could also do gold, but I feel like when we did a video and we saw the death of cryptos at one point, it would be like a rush into metals or commodities.
Mm, I don't know. I'm getting pretty tired now.
Well, that's the money blocks, kids. That's how that works.
Well,
We
that's
tried.
also using all my psychic energy. I'm like, I need a cup of tea. I need a refill.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know,
We
that's
did
why
great
when I'm
though.
doing readings, I don't mind going over the time at all. But sometimes after like 2 hours, I'm like, guys, I'm exhausted. I gotta go. Oh, okay.
Yep.
But you know, I have another question, and I'm like, no, you don't understand.
It's addicting. It's addicting. You get an edge, you know.
I know, but they plug their you know, they use me as an outlet, so they plug into me, and then all my energy's gone, and I'm like, okay, but you don't understand. I'm completely drained. So I feel now like I'm feeling drained. I need a cup of tea.
All right. Let's stop it here. All right, guys, go see her on Patreon, and then I'll put the link also if you want to book a session with her. And then I'll put a link also in the you said you have a YouTube channel, so I'll look up that video and then put that in there for convenience. So that was good.
Thank you.
It was a good session. All right.
Cool. All right.
All right.